Why is toxic Star Wars fandom even still a thing? Why is it still being discussed? Because that's about the only thing that seems to be keeping Star Wars fandom alive at this point, is the media stoking the outrage.
You have seen the signs around you. The gradual creeping, decay, and dysfunction. You have realized that something is wrong with the media and the people around you. You know that you are different. This is why you are ready to become a receiver.
Welcome back, Demon Squad. It's ya boy, Bobby Hill Wobbington D. Jiggity James Bobbington Jones the 43rd. I'm back again for another requested YouTube channel. This one was on the back burner for a while too. Meet Clownfish TV, who I'm going to refer to as Neon for this occasion. Our boy Neon is interesting at first glance. His channel is fairly innocent and lighthearted. That is, until you look at some of the recent posts here. Yep, he's another Geeks and Gamers clone who uploads 2 to 3 videos a day on anti-SJW related topics. This video we're talking about today was uploaded only 8 hours ago at the time of writing, and was his 3rd video uploaded that day. Fuck, man, how do you guys do this? I could barely release 1 video a week. I could never imagine multiple videos in one day. At the very least, I respect the grind. It's the only thing I respect. So, as you can tell by the title here, this video is on Mark Hamill. Mark was in a recent interview, and at some point in the interview, a question about the Star Wars fan base came up. The article is a pretty reasonable, short piece of interesting Hollywood tidbits, but our boy Neon takes some issue with it.
Another day, another lie about Star Wars fans and Star Wars actors being perpetuated by the media. This is Neon, this is Clownfish TV, and this is the sad state of fandom. I'm going to talk about some comments that Mark Hamill made a couple of days ago, made the rounds. Now the media is pouncing and using his words, twisting his words to say things he actually did not say. Basically that Mark Hamill is outright attacking Star Wars fans and calling them toxic. That is not true. That's not actually what he said. Would you quit lying about Mark Hamill? Would you quit lying about Star Wars fans? Just stop it. Stop it. Media, just freaking stop it. We're going to talk about this.
So, as you can see, Neon is proposing that the media, specifically this article, is lying about what Mark said in an interview. Okay, so the media can be a tricky thing. They have lied in the past. No one would ever deny that. Pretty believable so far. But hold your horse-a-roonies, boys and girls, cause I have some contentious opinions about Neon's statements here. His main 2 arguments he uses to prove that the media lies is that the original title mentioned toxic fans instead of contentious fans that the article is later titled.
Where we have a guy in the basement, of course he's in the basement, with the Last Jedi is not canon shirt. This guy kind of looks like a Chad to me though. You know, he kind of does. He kind of does. Anyway, we've got little digs like that. We've got CBR, Comic Book Resources, constantly stoking outrage. You know, constantly trying to turn Star Wars into some kind of political activism. Just to, you know, a couple weeks ago, they used May the 4th to be like, hey, everybody, you need to do better with representation in Star Wars. Oh my God, some toxic fans took our hashtag about representation in Star Wars and turned it into a reason to take a dump on the sequel. So you get these ridiculous articles being written about Star Wars fandom because it brings in clicks and they get paid. Rinse and repeat. Let's write some more articles shitting on Star Wars fans. Now, we noticed something was up a couple of weeks ago. We had Forbes. Again, it's a slow news week, month, year because of the shutdown, but we had Forbes going back to the well and trying to reignite the Last Jedi drama. Most people have moved on. Most people don't give a shit. But now Mark Hamill gives an interview. It made the rounds a couple of days ago, and they kept using it as a way to weaponize Mark Hamill. You know, Luke Skywalker, that sad sack. They destroyed Luke in The Last Jedi. Mark Hamill himself wasn't very happy with it. You know, that they did him dirty. They did Luke dirty, but they're trying to weaponize Luke Skywalker against the fans. And it's really pretty shit. And if you actually read the article, you'll realize what he's saying is not actually the way that the media is portraying it. Esquire picked this up.
Please move forward!
Now, the original interview, I believe, was with the Daily Beast. If you've ever read the Daily Beast, you know, yeah, it's very clear. But Esquire picked it up. Now, what's funny about this is I think they changed their headline, because the word he actually used was contentious, basically that the fandom is not happy. And we're going to talk about his own experience with contentious fans I would actually consider legitimate toxic Star Wars fans. Esquire said with Luke Skywalker behind him, Mark Hamill reflects on contentious Star Wars fans. The actor discussed the rise of toxic fandom in a new interview. Now, if you go to the source, you'll see this is what the title of the article is. Mark Hamill talks toxic Star Wars fans in new interview. They changed it. If you go out to Google, Mark Hamill talks toxic Star Wars fans in new interview. That's what they're using to get those buzzwords in at Google, but they don't want to be...
Okay, so he does have a point here. They technically did lie. I find it weird that he picks on them for using the word toxic to stoke the flames of a long-dead controversy, but yet the first word of his title is toxic. Weird thing to throw shade at them for. His second point is, well, actually, now that I think about it, the use of the word contentious is his only issue. Let's actually look at the word contentious, shall we?
He had this lengthy interview with the Daily Beast. He talks about contentious fandom, not toxic, contentious. Contentious fandom, causing or likely to cause an argument or controversial, involving a heated argument, given to arguing or provoking argument. Okay, and that is actually a legitimate descriptor of Star Wars fandom. There has been a lot of discussion, heated discussion, debate, and argument over the treatment of, in particular, Luke Skywalker in the sequel trilogy.
In basic terms, it just centers around arguments. It describes something very divisive and is also often used in politics. So, that's a very reasonable description of the state of the Star Wars fan base, and that is the word Mark Hamill used to describe them. The word toxic, on the other hand, well, admittedly has a very negative connotation. Isn't all that far from contentious when you really think about it. What is the real difference between these two words? Toxic fans are known for their controversial opinions about the movie. Is it really that much of a stretch to say toxic instead of contentious? Keep in mind, contentious is a word that is most often used in politics, and politics are very much a topic in the fan discourse. I'm not trying to claim they didn't lie, but how egregious is this lie? Neon even brought up that they use the word for easy clicks, so how do you know it isn't just journalistic liberties? Furthermore, your main point here is that they lied on purpose to attack the Star Wars fans by misinterpreting Mark Hamill's words to push an agenda, is it not? Well, if that was actually true, why is the word toxic only mentioned once in the subheading, and when mentioning toxic fans begins with the preface of small but vocal right beside it? Hell, in the second paragraph of the article, it mentions that Mark Hamill repeatedly voiced displeasure in the direction of the filmmakers. Even further, they mention how fans care deeply about the direction of Luke because they followed him for so long. And when you really think about it, what's the difference between calling someone contentious and calling them toxic? I think contentious is just a much nicer word that means roughly the same thing, in my humble opinion, of course. So, Neon, if their intent was to just demonize the fanbase, it looks like they're doing a pretty shitty job at it. I find it interesting how at one point he does bring up the definition of contentious to make the point of them lying, even though they never claimed that Mark Hamill called anyone toxic, but yet he never gives a definition for what toxic means. Don't you think that would help your argument a little better, Neon? I can't help but think you omitted that on purpose because toxic fanbase doesn't really have a universal definition. Do you think everyone is really on the same page when you say toxic? Toxicity comes in many forms, it's not that cut and dry. Funny I should actually say that, because he does try to point out toxicity, but, well, I'll just show you.
Now, you want to talk about legitimate toxic fans, and I do agree that fans do take things too far. We see it in cartoons a lot. In fact, we're getting all kinds of blowback now for our hot takes on She-Ra. Before that, we got all kinds of blowback from our opinions on the ending of Adventure Time. We tried to have a discussion, but, it doesn't matter. If you say you don't like something that somebody else likes, it becomes a big debacle, right? But Mark Hamill, who has said many times that he wasn't real happy with how Luke Skywalker was portrayed, but he did what he could. He tweeted this last year. Hashtag missed opportunities, where they had the whole gang back together in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, something that most Star Wars fans, most old school Star Wars fans would love to see. And they attacked him on Twitter. Twitter called Mark Hamill a boomer. They attacked him. They're like, it's our Star Wars now, Mark Hamill. What do you know about Star Wars, Luke Skywalker? That's boomer Star Wars. This is the now. Again, Mark Hamill has posted things like this before, what a Han-Luke reunion might look like. So when he posted this, okay, it was actually awesome. It was an awesome image. All hell broke loose. This is coming from Bleeding Fool. You see, following the divisive, or should we say contentious, not toxic, response to the most recent series entry, Star Wars The Last Jedi, several toxic fans who have vehemently and zealously defended the new trilogy of films quickly began criticizing Hamill's retweet as fanning the flames. And they began shaming and cursing Mark Hamill for sharing the image. These are the toxic fans that regularly politicize Star Wars for their own personal agenda and attack anyone who dares to criticize J.J. Abrams or Rian Johnson. In fact, one of the most liked of these toxic responses accuses Mark Hamill of enabling the alt-right. In spite of his years of openly espousing progressive liberal politics, Mark Hamill knows damn well what he's doing. He can't come right out and say, screw you people, what you did to Star Wars, because he's Mark Hamill, and, go. Some folks seem to think I'm suggesting he's not allowed to share his opinion online. Come on, he's allowed. I welcome his wistfulness. But this image is one that's gone around the CG, GG, alt-righty crown already. It stokes that audience, and the creators pay for it. I'm not saying he's not allowed to have opinions. He just doesn't have the right opinions. Unlike Chuck Wendig, of course, especially in the new films, leave the new cast have their time. I respect Mark Hamill greatly, but to think this was the way to go seems short-sighted and borderline selfish. It's selfish to want the gang to get back together. The original trilogy gang that everybody loves. They have withstood the test of time. These are the same people that were like, Lando is Pando Lando. And Billy D. Williams is like, is that gay or something? What the hell are you talking about?
Wow, really, bro? This is the best example of toxic fans you can get? These people, often very politely, addressing to Mark that he's sharing an image from a side of the fan base they don't like? Oh my god, and you know what's funny? I don't see you questioning the legitimacy of this website, Neon, even though they literally called these people toxic and accused them of being shills who attack anyone who doesn't like the new movies. Not a single mention of that. Nope. No bias here. Holy shit. I've never seen hypocrisy that blatant in my life. You literally just shit on the other article for doing that. Oh, but this is okay? Now now I see what's going on. It's only bad when people you don't agree with do it. It's so hilarious to see the massive projection from the author of this article. These toxic fans are the one who regularly politicize Star Wars. Oh yeah? Unlike you guys. What is every other word that comes out of these people's mouth? Forced diversity, race quotas, left-wing agenda pushing feminism and toxic masculinity, postmodernist diversity propaganda? Yeah, that's these same people saying that. I can't believe you have the nerve to complain about people politicizing Star Wars, as if you're any better. Oh wait, I forgot. It's only okay when you do it. Alright, so now you've seen it. Clownfish is basically another Geeks and Gamers clone, only notable for being more shockingly hypocritical than in recent memory for me. I swear, every time I watch these people, they just get worse and worse. This was uploaded recently. Very recently, and it just shocks me every single time. I'm never ready for what I'm about to hear. Even when they all just basically do the same thing, they rip each other off so much it's like a clown car of outrage. When will this rabbit hole ever end? I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface yet. Every time I whack one down, 3 more take its place. It's insane. Good thing I enjoy doing this, or I would have lost my mind already. Any more requests you want to make, feel free to do so in the comments section. I'm Bob Jones, and I'll see you later. Bye.